Hello my beautiful people. So as you can see, different layout yet again. I feel like there's been so many changes recently. The reason I'm doing things differently this week is because it needs to be relevant, right? I believe that we incarnate when and where we choose to incarnate, because we understand that that time, that moment in time, the people that we're born to, that we interact with, that we come into contact with, are going to provide the right conditions and impetus for us to take the journey that our soul truly wants and needs to take. If you were born at this time, and it's an unprecedented time for a lot of people, if you were born at this time, you will be, or you're here at this time, should I say, you're here for a reason to experience this in some way, shape or form. This means that your soul signed up for this. And in order to keep it relevant, I want to help people understand, what is it that your soul is trying to learn right now? A lot of people are being forced to take stock, to stand still. The old contracts, the old world, the old spiritual contracts, it's all breaking down in favor for something new that is coming through now, for a new way of being, a new way of understanding, a new sense of connection. New connections are about to be forged. New ways of doing everything are about to be forged. So, the fact that a lot of us are either sort of on lockdown or having to stay still, having to take a moment. I talked about this in my daily email, if you get it, if you're on my list. And what I talked about was this moment where so many people are being forced to stop, to put their feet on the ground and say, right, okay, what do I think about this? What do I really feel is the next step for me? Why is it that this is taking place? What is my soul trying to learn? And I kind of see this time, when a planet goes retrograde, it sort of takes its journey and then it slows down. And then as it slows down, it starts to come to a stop, and it stations, and then its energy is magnified. What happens under a retrograde, backward, looking back, going over, reassessing, reevaluating, redoing, lots of rewords, rediscovery, remembering, bringing things from the past back for examination to be looked at, re-examining things, right? All of these words are what happen when a planet retrogrades. Well, then it kind of stops and tracks backwards, so we go back over that energy, and then it stops and it stations again, and then it starts to move forward again, and it kind of picks up speed and goes on its merry way. Well, if you think about it, the human race at the moment is kind of being forced into its very own retrograde. So rather than seeking out there or looking out there, this is a time to go within. What is your soul trying to learn? What is it that you are releasing at this moment in time? And what is it that you are welcoming in as a result of all of this that's taking place on this sort of deeper level? If you haven't seen it, I did a series recently on the spring equinox for the different different elements of the zodiac. Check that out. It's on a playlist, and you can find that on the channel. Just hit the playlist button and you'll be able to find it. With that said, this is kind of a mini blurb to explain why the different format, what it kind of means, how it's going to shape up for you. I haven't stuck to the usual format because I don't feel like it's relevant at the moment. I feel like this is the stuff that is kind of more relevant for us, and will probably be more relevant for us over the course of the next week. So let me know, do you love it? Do you loathe it? And with that said, you are heading into your personal taroscope for the week ahead. Take care, love you much, and I'll see you soon. Hi Virgo, welcome to your week ahead taroscope with me, Raphael from Reydiant Reality. It's an absolute pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for joining me. If you haven't already, please don't forget to like, share, and if you should so choose and it resonates, hit that subscribe button. If you are already a continued subby, you know I love you for it. With that said, if you would like to book a personal reading with me, which you can still do, you can do on the website address below. Before we start, as always, I would like to bless my decks of cards with all forms of love, light, peace, prosperity and abundance. And I pray that the messages that come through are ultimately clear and concise, and they help us all on our paths to our highest vibrational good. So let's have a look, see this week. What is your soul trying to learn? The Hierophant. Your soul is trying to learn how to structure, how to reorganize your life, and how to bring more order and stability into it. It is also about you trying to learn how to become your own authority. How is it that you can start to either become your own boss? How is it that you can start to think now? Because this is about what your soul is trying to learn. You know, this is really asking you, how can you be your own boss? How can you bring more control or authority over your own life? How is it that you can move into a space of feeling like you are more in control of anything in your life, whether this is your assets, whether it's your finances, whether it is your home, whether it is your, you know, maybe it's your family unit, maybe it's your local environment, maybe it's your local, you know, your location. This is about really asking yourself now, how do I become more of an authority in and of my own right? And how is it that I can maybe take some of this power that seems to be in everybody else's hands back into my own? How do I bring some sort of not necessarily even just authority, but how do I bring some more personal governance into my life? How do I, you know, move into that space where I'm more self-reliant than ever before? You know, and this is across the board, whether you've got a family or, you know, or not. It's not necessarily just about sort of like the me, but this is about, you know, how do I gain more control over the life that I have and ultimately the life that I choose to lead? So what are you releasing this week? You're releasing the Ace of Cups. Not necessarily a bad card, but in terms of what you're releasing, this is about being overly emotional. This is about you. Now, I know a lot of people are going to be like, what? Virgos, overly emotional. Actually, you guys are very emotional. You just hide it really, really well, you know, behind lots of logic and practicality. What I will say to you is this is about you. It's about you this week releasing this idea that you have to continue to start again. This is about you perfecting the things that you have, and also understanding that being emotional over things isn't necessarily going to get you anywhere or get you what you want. This is about understanding how not to get in your feelings at this moment in time. This is about you learning to release those and say to yourself, okay, is this serving me at the moment? If not, then this is something that I need to push to the side for now. In terms of what you're releasing as well, some of you might be putting some of your longer term plans on hold, i.e. having children, maybe wanting to conceive, maybe wanting to start a family. It looks like some of you are releasing this idea or this want for the moment, for the time being. I don't feel like this is going to be forever. It's just, you know, obviously while the rest of 2020 reboots, so to speak. And then finally, for your what you're welcoming in, you have the Three of Wands. This is about you welcoming in this idea of, I mean, it's right underneath the Ace of Cups as well, right? Of expanding your vision, but taking things broader. This is, you know, I said this is about you getting to grips with your local community and your local area and your location. But this is also, because this is about what you're welcoming in. This is asking you to look further afield and say to yourself, okay, how do I bring more opportunity into my life? And ultimately, is where I am now, does this feel like where I'm supposed to be? Does this really feel like where I'm supposed to have my feet on the ground? This is about you looking further afield and even looking out into the future and asking yourself, does this support look like or resonate with where it is that I truly feel like I'm going, with what it is that I'm learning? And if I'm going to be more self-governed and more self-authoritative, what is it that I need to bring into my life at this moment in time to start putting in place? Your Three of Wands also says that a lot of you may very well be looking at overseas destinations or some sort of long-term move. It looks like this week you're going to be presented with some sort of opportunity to put together a plan for you moving, for you leaving or going elsewhere when the time is right. That may not be anytime soon, but it does look like it is coming up. All right, so for your key to the week, very different format, I know. You got the Star card, hope, optimism, joy. This is time for you to do your research. It's time for you to start thinking further afield. It's time for you to start looking out into the future. And with your Star card, this is always a glimpse into the future. So this week, pay attention to whatever ideas, hunches, or nudges that you get from dreams, feelings, intuitions, daydreams as well. Pay attention to those this week. We're probably all going to be doing a lot more of it because we've got sort of more time on our hands, so to speak. But pay attention to those reveries, because there might be moments that you catch a glimpse of something that could truly be spectacular for you, especially in your long term. I kind of feel like these cards are saying for you guys, especially this week, you really are at a big turning point and a crossroads, and where you go from here is really up to you. So with that said, I wish you an abundance of all of that good stuff. Have a fantastic week. Let me know in the comments how it shapes up. Remember, there is a whole community there in the comments. Reach out, send emails, all the rest of it. Take care. I'll see you soon.